Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. Well, it is Friday, February the 2nd, and I thank you very much for making the decision to join us here today because we have some very interesting and exciting things to cover with you. And our focus today is something that I'm sure is also on your heart. If you've been on the briefing for a while, you know that we just love the local church here. We love serving our church families. We love supporting our church leadership. We like to have a good, strong church family in our community, and we want to make a difference out there. So today we're going to be focusing on all of those things, on providing you with information and tools that we believe are going to be very beneficial in the hands of you, your leaders, and your church family members in the local church. So thank you so again for coming today. We're going to be focusing the messaging around today. It's kind of going to be based on a book that we actually recently shared here on the National Leadership Briefing, a book written by Preston Manning called Do Something, 365 Ways That You Can Strengthen Canada. This book is packed full of great ideas as to what you can do. So I'm going to make sure that we put a link in the post notes today for you, so it's where you can get this book, because it's really an awesome guide. Things every single day you can be doing just a little something or looking for things to do to strengthen Canada and ultimately strengthen your family and your local church. So that's our theme today, is helping out, being a positive influence and bringing solutions. So let's take a look at some of the solutions that we're going to be looking at today. First of all, as we are always going to be, we're always going to be operating off of what we call the National Leadership Briefing Service Dashboard. This is how we view the way we serve the local church and church leadership. So you'll see various things explained over time on the National Leadership Briefing from this guide today. However, today, I just want to point out, first of all, there you are in the middle. We're encouraging you to be that person in the middle, accepting the responsibility of being the center of your sphere of influence. So that's you there. And then today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at an underutilized tool that we have available for you to help establish citizen action group ministries in your local church. So that's one thing we're going to talk about today. We're also going to be announcing some details of an upcoming event for those who are interested in their local community and having an impact in their cities and have a city movement going. We have a citizen action or a community action council event coming up. And we also are going to be shining a citizen spotlight on an organization that provides outstanding kingdom influence training and education materials. That's what KITE stands for. It's materials that in your hands, we believe, can be used to advance the kingdom here on earth. So we're going to be taking a look at that as well. And we're also going to be looking at training up special operators. That's what that stands for, to serve the local church using artificial intelligence. So AI, we're going to be continuing our conversation with AI today. And then we're going to close here today also with a review of what we call site security. Now, site security is we just believe that the local church needs to be aware of their surroundings. I mean, this is wherever, depending on the part of the world that you're in, where anywhere in Canada, though, is where we serve. We want to make sure that you're aware that that you need to be conscious of the perimeter you're building and how people come and go and how you communicate, and if there's a plan in place during an emergency. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today under site security. Here is what happens when there is an emergency in your community, and how can you prepare to greet that or meet that eventuality, that possibility, we'll call it, in your community. So those are the things we're going to be talking about today. We're also, of course, going to touch on the 4 pillars, because that is the very thing that we rally around here on the briefing. So thanks again for joining us today. Let's take a quick break, come right back. We're going to just review the 4 pillars quickly and then jump right into probably one of the most underutilized, as I say, tools that we have here on the National Leadership Briefing, and the most effective one for helping you start a citizen action group ministry in your church. So we'll be right back after this. Until then, God bless. Bye for now. Okay, let's get started. We've got a lot to cover today. And again, thank you for joining us. So, you're going to have your post notes at the end of the briefing today if you're registered on the National Leadership Briefing website. If you aren't already registered for the briefing and you're just watching this on a social media platform, please like and share the video. That for sure you can do. But also go to the National Leadership Briefing website. That's nlbcanada.com. Go to that website and register for the briefing so you receive all of the resources that we talk about and share on the briefing. So great. Good to have you here, though. Thanks so much. Let's get started. First of all, I wanted to ask the question about the four pillars. This is for you, the people who've been on the briefing for a little while. If you're brand new, just rest, but this is kind of a bit of an accountability thing here. I want to know how you're doing memorizing and working with the four pillars. And the reason why I want to know that is because that's absolutely key, that as we move forward, that we're always drilling and training and raising our level of competence in communicating the principles that undergird the four pillars. And those pillars are, let's put this up here for you so you can see it. Those pillars are, of course, pillar number one, we believe that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Now, I've got that up on the board there now, so we can kind of cheat and look at that, but you're really going to want to commit that one to memory because you're going to find yourself standing in front of somebody one day and they're going to say, "Hey, man, who are you? What are you all about?" And you can say, "Well, you know what? I'm a parent. And I believe that as a parent, I have the right to raise my children the way that I want. How about you?" And if they're also a parent, then you are establishing a connection with people around you who share your views and values with regard to parental authority. Why is that important? Because we grow our influence here on the National Leadership Briefing, and you locally grow your influence by gathering around you people who share your views and values and working on things together, using your combined voices to amplify the impact and the influence that your views and values have on the decisions of people like local governments and candidates and incumbent members of parliament or members of the legislative assembly. So how are you doing? How are you doing committing these things to memory? Are you in a position now after working with with the pillars for a while? If I woke you up in the middle of the night from a dead sleep and I said, "What is the second pillar?" Would you say those we elect to service in civil government, we need them to respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion? Well, if that's your response, you're doing great. You're practicing, you're drilling, you're training, because you want this to be really ingrained in your brain as to what it is you believe in, so you can pull it out and use it at any time when you're out there interacting with people in your community. So these are the four pillars. There are resources that are available on the website where you can download. We've got something called the Four Pillars Story that talks about where these principles that we rally around together on the briefing, where did they come from? What's the story? This is a story that you can share with other people. It's kind of one that you can kind of tell a bit of the history of where the National Leadership Briefing came from and why we believe in the things we do and how we do the things we do. All of these things, you want to be drilling and training and get better at articulating them because you're asking them to join this community. You're asking them to add their voice to ours, not only you locally, but us nationally, when it comes time for us to take advantage of those opportunities that present themselves for us to speak with a unified voice. So those are the four pillars. Definitely want to make sure that we touch on those every single briefing because you're going to need them. You're definitely going to need them on the road ahead. All right, great. Well, let's move into the agenda today, and I'll make sure, as I say, I'll make sure all these resources are identified in the post notes. So don't think I'm moving too fast by them. But the four pillars are definitely always the first place we want to start. The next thing we want to do is we want to move to this CAG ministry section here. Now, again, this is the service dashboard that we encourage you to use, but I want to just one caveat before we get too far into this is understand this, is that when I say that our heart is to serve the local church and church leadership and pastors, and we want to come in and help support them and help them make their lives easier and lift the burden off of their back, that weight, how can we lighten their load is what we ask ourselves a lot. But one thing I want to say is whenever we go over things like this here on the briefing, everything that I am presenting to you is a suggestion for review by your local church leadership, and it is their decision as to whether to apply it. So please don't go charging through the doors too hard, try and ram in some of these eyes. I present this so that you can very, very carefully take it and present it to your leadership and use it locally if the pastor or church leadership wants to proceed with it. But I believe this is where my encouragement is I believe that everything that we've got here on this list is something that the local church is going to need, if they don't already, on the immediate road ahead here in Canada. I can see what's happening on the horizon. I can see that there are opportunities that we could take advantage of as the local church. I can see threats looming on the horizon that we need to prepare to meet and defend against. So this is the infrastructure. When I take a look at this, this is my recommendation for the local church, and you can help your local church by advancing some of these things that we're talking about into the infrastructure in the local church. So let's start with Citizen Action Group Ministries in the local church and give you an example of what I'm talking about. First of all, I've got probably the most underutilized tool in our entire arsenal is one video related to CAG Ministries. And I'm going to show you that video right now because it is on our website. It's available for download. I'm going to put it in the post notes. You can take it and share it with your local church leaders and pastors and clergy and priests and whoever it is that you want to show it. And it's to tell the story of a local pastor who was just simply wanting to keep up with what's going on out there, the pace of change, the things that were coming at them, the issues in not only the political realm, but also the governmental realm, new laws, things related to parental authority and life issues. And all of these things were coming at this pastor. And he just said, I just need some help. And so this is the video that you can share with your local pastor and leadership and say, hey, is any of what this pastor is talking about or saying, are these any of the challenges that we're having here locally in our church? Because if there are some of these similar challenges, then we could probably start a citizen action group, and this guy Doug Sharp and the National Leadership Briefing will help us do it. But we can start a citizen action group, and that can exist in the church as infrastructure to help support you, the pastor, in serving the church family in the area of civics, government authority, political action, anything that you wanted to assign to that group. But you've got to have the infrastructure in place. You've got to have those that are called to serve in that place doing that for the pastor. Now, before I turn on the video, though, I want you to draw your attention. See where it says SPT? That ring, SPT, surrounds everything that we do here, and that stands for Strategic Prayer Team. So if I'm encouraging you to start an initiative or to look into starting an initiative in your church like a Citizen Action Group ministry, we always believe that the strategic prayer teams need to be mobilized ahead of that initiative and let them know. Say, hey, look, okay, we want to call forward anyone who's got a heart for this and to help working on this Citizen Action Group ministry. Make sure your prayer teams are informed of what your goals are so that they can pray and clear the way in the spiritual realm ahead of you so that you can march forward unimpeded by anything that can come at you. And pray blessing over the work too. They can do all sorts of things, but that strategic prayer team there is surrounding everything we do because it is always the first place we start. All right, so let's watch this Citizen Action Group ministry. It's a pastor telling his story, and this is, like I say, underutilized. You can start using it right away, and you can show it to your leadership, and I will help you start that ministry if your pastor decides he wants to go ahead with it. So let's just show you, and we'll come right back after this.
I became aware, just in my prayer time, these things started to come up about what was happening in the nation, primarily what I'd been reading about what was happening in the education system, the curriculum that was being introduced to grade school children and even preschool children, things that little children shouldn't even have to deal with until they're coming into their teen years. And it suddenly struck me that they're after the children. And by that, I mean those whose agenda is to teach a sexuality that is very contrary to what we have as a biblical or a moral worldview. And when it struck me that they were after the children, and I thought, I have to do something, but I'm a pastor. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an educator. And I thought, well, what can I do? I can let our people know about this. And so I started to try and do a little bit more research, and I would check online for, this organization, Canada Family Action was one that I'd find out, okay, this is happening. ARPA was another one, Parents for Choice in Education here in Alberta. And what actually happened was I was starting to sort of get overwhelmed with all this information because I'm a pastor. I've already got all the stuff that I have to do. And I was sitting there one morning and I said, God, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to do all this. I can't keep up with this. And I felt like the impression that came to me was, there's a remnant of people in your church who have a heart to do this kind of thing. You need to find them. And, we pastored for over 30 years. And so I knew that for anything that was on God's heart, there's a group of people in each local church. I learned that many years ago, that God will speak to their heart about it, whether it's home missions or missions away or a building project or working with orphans, whatever. And so I just said, okay, I trust that there's people here that will have this on their heart. Because I just had too much to do. I couldn't keep up, as I said. So I got up that Sunday morning, just a few days later, and I said, we're going to have a meeting next Sunday night for those of you who have an interest or a heart for social justice issues, for what's happening in the nation. And I mentioned some of what was happening in the schools, and people kind of knew that because I've been sharing a little bit of that on and off over the prior weeks. And so then I got up again the next Sunday and said, tonight we're having a meeting. And it was totally, I had no idea how many people were going to show up. So we met in a small sanctuary that night, and I just had, 20 or 30 chairs set up, and 20 people came. I didn't have a plan, and really what I was doing was reaching out, trusting that God was leading me. And I said to the people that night, which really, as a public speaker, I felt kind of foolish. I said, you guys, I don't have an agenda. I realize that I need three things. If I'm going to get up on a Sunday morning and share for 2 or 3 minutes on here's what's happening and here's how we respond, I need people who can find information for me that's pertinent to us right now. My experience has been, and myself included, that Christians are largely uninformed on the issues. We're getting better, but we're largely uninformed. So I said, I need people who can find information that's pertinent to what's happening. I said, I need people who can vet that information and determine, okay, is this hearsay or is this something that's actually happening? And here's the research, here's the data. And then I said, I need somebody who can create an action plan or a response so that when I get up on Sunday, I can go, here's the information, here's where we found out, and here's what needs to happen. And you guys, here's how we need to respond. And so the people sort of said, okay. And I said, I don't know what to call this, a political group, a political action group. I said, but let's sit down and talk about it. 2 or 3 people from that group sort of came and said, I would be more interested. I will help you find the information. Eventually, after I think about within the next month, we had about 5 people that came, and we sat down as a group, and I said, well, you guys know the need here. I said, as a pastor, I just need somebody to help me with this information. So we're beginning to see this vision that God had about, that he gave to my heart, was how Christians engage and how Christians can be a voice and see something change in your city, in your province, in your nation. And the nice thing about it is, I'm not running this. I'm not making it happen. I'm not having to do all the work. They give me what I need, I inform the church, and then they take care of the rest. So I really want to emphasize that for pastors who are like, gosh, I'm not a politician, I'm a pastor, I'm here to help people's marriages and help them, that they don't have to do all the work. But I will say this, as pastors, we have the responsibility to help our people be salt. And somebody said to me, well, how, we shouldn't get involved in politics. Politics is a dirty thing, we should just pray. And I remember thinking this, Jesus said we're salt. Salt doesn't have an impact until it makes contact. And as Christians, we have to start making contact with our world, with our constituencies, with the nation. And I'm not a politician. I'm a pastor, so I don't try and be a politician because it's not my lane. But there are people in my church who have a real heart for that, and they have a heart for social justice and for one of the things that you've mentioned. And so they're training themselves and becoming, I don't know if you'd call us experts, but at least we're informed and engaged. So it's definitely easier for me because I'm not trying to change who I am. What God was able to do was to create something that empowered our people without me having to change and become something else.
Okay, well, I'm sure you can imagine that that is a very common theme that you hear expressed by church leaders and pastors these days. Just this idea or this sense like that there's just a lot coming at them. They've got their own responsibilities, the things they feel God's called them to do, but they need to be supported in certain areas. And one of the realities is that the pace of change in the political and governmental realm these days is leaving many of them really feeling like they're falling behind. So for you to offer to serve and to bring this suggestion forward to your pastor, I think is very appropriate. And this is what we're encouraging you to do today, is just simply take that video that you can find on our website, that you can find in the post notes from today, and share it with your pastor and just say, what do you think? Do you need some help with this? Is this something? Is this us? Are you hearing yourself in this message? And so, and then at that point, if your pastor says, yeah, let's move forward, I am feeling kind of overwhelmed, then you need some help getting that citizen action group together, you give me a call. That's how it works. And we help you set it up. And again, remind you, it's the infrastructure that exists under the authority of the pastor, completely in control by the pastor. It's not something that's sort of running independently out there. This is a ministry of the church under the authority of the pastor. So we just want to make that clear for you. Okay. All right, great. So that's the Citizen Action Group ministry. Now we're going to move to CACs. This is your Community Action Councils. The things that are changing for the local church are changing locally. A lot of them are. As a matter of fact, you've got a greater need for local churches to engage with their municipal government leaders and also with local marketplace leaders, and to form a relationship, an association. So the Community Action Council format that we encourage people to adopt and to grow within their local church is really that very thing. It's that relationship expressed between your local church members that are called and feel called in their hearts to serve the local community, but also we have the local marketplace, the marketplace leaders and local municipal government leaders all working together, taking a look at what are the needs of your community, how can we serve your community, express and share and show and demonstrate love for our community together with all of our different giftings and callings, working together, all three of those groups. So this is what I'm going to recommend that you do, is because I'm going to always encourage you to do something, as the book says here. So I'm going to encourage you to allow us to serve you on an upcoming Community Action Council Zoom call. This is the next Zoom call that is coming up here, and we're going to be featuring a gentleman by the name of Doug Tajan, who is an incredible man when it comes to understanding the difference between God's ways of doing things and also what might be considered man's ways of doing things. And he believes, as I do, that God's way is better. So we're going to be on that particular call. We're going to be making sure that you're going to be provided with tools. So if you've got a heart for your city and you want to get into relationship with others and you want to build this Community Action Council, this is just another arrow in your quiver to help you achieve those objectives locally. So two things. One is, take the information from the post-briefing notes today that I'm going to provide you. Watch this video coming up. Make sure you get registered, because there's going to be a little bit of a banner on the bottom that's going to give you an email address where you can send away an email to get registered for this call on the 8th. It's actually on February the 8th, Thursday, February the 8th, beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. You want to get on that call, you want to get registered, but you want to invite others as well to join you on that call. So share what I send you out in the post briefing notes as well with other people in your church and get them on that call as well. All right. So that's coming up Thursday, February the 8th, and it's something you can do to advance the efforts of your Community Action Council. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back. We're going to be immediately going into, I'm going to show you some really, really exciting resources that are at your fingertips. You may not even know they're there, but they're exciting resources that are at your fingertips that you can use and will benefit you, will save you time, it'll save you all sorts of energy, and it will definitely up your game in taking action in certain areas. So we're going to go over that with you when we return. Watch this quick video. Back in a flash. Bye for now.
We're crying out for the church to be the church in the community.
The ecclesia is a relational model that God has been calling forward.
Being present is about showing up on a regular basis.
I'm convinced that God will birth a love in one's heart for the place He has put you in. And sometimes that requires a process. Sometimes we don't initially love the place where we are or where God is sending us, but we respond in obedience.
And I believe there must be the restoration of the cry of God in the heart of us as leaders to cry out to God for our cities.
And for those of you who have a heart for your local community, then I would encourage you to participate in what we call Transformer Calls, focused on your engagement and the love that you have for your communities. Okay, so I hope you had time to write down that email address on the bottom of that video there where you can sign up for that February 8th Community Action Council event. There is also a Facebook page that I'm going to include in the post briefing notes today, a link to a Facebook page where you can become a member of the group, and it has all of the videos that were done all last year as well. So every 2 months, all last year, there was another speaker that came, and again, these are individuals that teach at a very high level that have messages that will help you to frame your city movement, your relationship with your Community Action Council and the local government leaders and marketplace leaders. So check that out as well. All right, so let's move on now. We're going to take a look at these KITE resources. Now, remember, this is you in the center of your own sphere of influence. This is how we serve the local church, but we have kingdom influence training and education materials that we want to make available to the local church, but we also want the local church to gather their own. So reach out there and gather quality information and materials and resources so that they can be as effective as they can be. We want things at people's fingertips. So we bring suggestions to you when we find a real high quality source of great information. We want to bring it to your attention so you can plug it into your local libraries. All right. Now, so let's take a look at who we want to feature here today, because you know what? I brought this forward before. I've had these folks on the briefing before, but it's been a while, and I was reminded just this week again of the high quality work that they do. So let's have a look here. I'm just going to share my screen with you, and we will check in with the Association for Reformed Political Action, or ARPA Canada. And this is their website now. Check this out. First of all, if you just go to the cover page, it says here, it tells you who they are. It's a Christian political advocacy organization there. So that's who they are. Got some details. You can Google them, find a little bit more, read down here. But I want to show you this. We haven't got a lot of time to go through everything, but check out these resources and publications tabs here, okay? So if you go to the publications tab and click on that, you can take a look at all of the booklets, the court arguments, the government submissions, the lesson plans, one-pager policy reports. I mean, it goes on and on. Gender identity, medical transitioning. They've got everything from, let's take a look at in vitro fertilization, surrogacy, issues that you might have. So you can just flip through this and consider it an inventory. It's like an inventory right at your fingertips for you to refer to if you had an interest in things like preborn human rights or family law. This is a one-stop shop. I just love this organization. Once you see the actual information as well, you're going to see that what I'm talking about when I talk about the high quality, high standards that they have in creating these different things that you can use. So check it out. Take ARPA Canada, use them, get in touch. And you know what? If when you see something like this being done well, don't hesitate to hit that donate button as well. I mean, if you can support an organization like this so they can keep producing this kind of information, boy, that's not a bad thing at all. Okay, that's ARPA Canada. And boy, I tell you, I mean, there's all sorts of different things that we find for you on the National Leadership Briefing sources. And these days, source information has to be reliable. It has to be vetted. You have to know what you're dealing with. We live in a world of deep fakes and all kinds of mutations of truth. So when I find something like ARPA Canada that just serves it straight up right across the plate like that, I really encourage you to bookmark that site and use it on a regular basis. Now, let's talk about another tool. This is getting into now, we're going to talk about the special operations section here. Now, remember what special operations is. You serving the local church. In the local church, you might find that you have some things that are brand new that you've never seen before. They might be new circumstances. There might be new pieces of legislation. There might be new technologies out there. Whatever it is, there might be a learning curve. There might be a period of adapting to the new realities that whatever an occurrence or some kind of information or some kind of event brings. That's why we have what's called the 4-pillar R&D, research and development team. We encourage churches and church leaders to look out into the church family and identify individuals who are basically, they have that personality of problem solving. They can actually take a look and think critically through challenges, and they can kind of plot a course, and perhaps they're strategic thinkers, and they do a very good job about making plans and analyzing data. Whatever their gifts are, that R&D team, you develop special operators from that so that they can tackle things that come up. Well, we have an opportunity that we've been talking about here on the National Leadership Briefing now for the last couple of briefings, and that is in the area of artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of people are sort of, they're hearing that as a buzzword out there, but the reality is that it is a thing that is going to massively change every aspect of our lives. And that sounds like a pretty big thing to say, and you might think it's hyperbolic, but the reality is I'm having trouble imagining areas that it's not going to change our lives. Like I'm actually now starting to go, wait a second, before I was trying to think of an application or a use case for artificial intelligence in our business and the way we do business and the people that we serve, how it can impact them positively or negatively. And now I'm just having trouble imagining even a set of circumstances where it's not going to have an impact. So let's talk a bit about artificial intelligence, because you're going to need to have and understand this tool in your hand. Now, first of all, if you're not called to be the person to pick this up and start playing with it and start learning it, if you're not that person, if you're kind of going, I'm just not that person, still hear me out on this, because I want you to try something out yourself just to get using it a little bit, just to see where it goes. It might open up a door for you, a door of interest, and you might think you're not the person to work on this, but in fact you are. So let's talk about artificial intelligence and what we can put in your hands today to help you to begin understanding it. Well, first of all, we have this great book here, just pardon me, got it right here, that we shared last time, and it's called Navigating AI with Faith. Now, this is a book that was written by Elijah Lowe, and Elijah Lowe recently came up from the United States and did a conference for us in Calgary with Joe Matera. So for those of you who attended the conference, you know what I'm talking about. But Navigating Faith with AI and this book, I'm going to put a link in the post notes. Great place to start. Pick up the book, give it a read, go online, read a little bit about what is AI. Well, let's take a look first. I'm not going to get into the sort of the ethical issues and all those other things. I'm just going to talk about how do I get AI in your hands in a way that you can understand and see it. Well, the best way is to take something you've already got in your hands, and that is your local phone, your little phone that you carry around with you all the time. I'm going to suggest to you that you go to the App Store. The App Store on your iPhone, and I want you to search out the Chat GPT logo. You'll actually see the logo. It's this. This is the logo right here. I wonder if I can make that bigger for you. See that logo in the corner? That little round one right. Oops, there. That logo right there. That's what we're looking for. That's the Chat GPT logo. Now, this is how easy it is to actually use. And I was kind of surprised myself because I got challenged by a friend to get on my phone and try using AI 3 times a day. That's what he said. Get on your phone, pick up Chat GPT, download it on your phone. And now one thing he did say to me, he said there's a free Chat GPT, and then there's a Chat GPT AI application that is $24.99 US a month. And he said, because Doug, of where you are and who you're talking to, you just go in and just hit the pay button and pay your 25 US a month. Just get it paid and go with the best version of it that you can, and then start playing with it, start doing things. Well, I'll give you an example of how easy it is to actually use it. I am going to hit record. I'm going to turn on my microphone and I'm going to speak into this artificial intelligence site. It's just an open bar, a free field that I can, in a conversational way, describe what it is that I'm looking for. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to work with this. So turn on the microphone. And here, let's just get started. I'm going to say something into the phone. Okay. Hi there. I am putting together a presentation which helps people to understand the importance of the authority of parents raising their own children as opposed to having the government do it, period. I want to make sure that people understand why it's so important that elected representatives are willing to respect my right of belief and freedom of religion, and also are willing to defend my freedom of religion when it's under attack. So these are 2 things, but there are 4 things total that I want you to lay out a plan for, and maybe some speaker notes and whatever else you can do. We also believe that when laws and policies are written, that it is important that those laws and policies provide for the safety and security of the vulnerable that live among us in our societies. We also believe that it is inappropriate for civil government to heap debt on the backs of our children and future generations. So whatever you can give me in the way of speaker notes and also meeting notes, and maybe you should put that in bullet points, because I think bullet points are probably easier as opposed to narration. Okay, now I just hit send. You heard me rambling. I was just rambling away. Now I could feel my phone. See how fast that's clicking off right now? Can you see that? Now let's just see. I mean, that's writing away. That is writing away. That is talking about all sorts of things. Now, I can't show you this any other clearer way other than it's a conversational thing. I'm going to stop this because this could just go forever here. But this could produce an entire book for you on those issues. But what could you use it for? What could you use it for in your hands? Well, how about this? Let's say you're sitting at home and you're saying, I want to start a community action council, but the reason I want to start it is because I really have a heart for the community and I really want to reach out to local leaders. Well, that's what you would say into your Chat GPT thing. Let's try it out. You and I'll try one together. Hi, I really would like to reach out to the local community and build better relationships with my municipal government leaders. I would also like to partner with marketplace leaders and see if us as members of the church could all work together to tackle some of the greater needs of our community. Do you have any suggestions for me as to how I might do that? Send. And there it goes. I know that's not really good, but you can see it's so ChatGPT. I'm going to put the download link in there. Again, you may not think you're the person, but you've got to actually start working with it at some point in time because it's coming. Everyone's going to be working with it eventually anyway. So you might as well get started right away. If you are someone who is in a position to drop that $25 a month, I encourage you to do it, even if you cancel it a couple months down the road or whatever. But I'm just saying, give it a try. We've got to continue to learn. We've got to continue to grow, and AI is upon us. Now, there's going to be conferences that we're going to be helping to arrange in the future on this subject. So get your R&D people together, identify who your special operators are, and have them standing ready to register for the future conferences that we do on AI, because you're definitely going to be want for those who are called to serve in this area of technology in your church, those people that can help support the pastor and help support the work of the local church using things like this, artificial intelligence. You're definitely going to want to have those people identified and standing ready because we're moving forward. All right. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. We're going to take this quick break. We're going to come right back. We're on the home stretch, so I'm going to wrap up. But thanks so much for your attention so far today, and thanks for letting me share these very, very interesting and great and what I believe are really going to be helpful resources with you under your Kingdom Influence Training and Education Materials section. All right, back in a flash. Bye for now.
These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number three, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number four, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe. That is good enough for us. That should be good enough for our elected representatives.
Well, we are definitely on the home stretch. Thank you so much for your attention so far. Today, of course, we've been focusing on things that we can do. And some of the things that we've covered so far is we can, of course, drill and train and become more efficient and effective in communicating the principles that undergird the four pillars. How do we do that? By drilling and training. We do it because we keep training. That's what we got to do. The second thing we did, we of course looked at the CAG ministry video, and what you can do with that video is, of course, you can share that with your pastor and you can offer to serve. If that's on your heart, that you believe that helping your pastor navigate the political and governmental realm is something that is on your heart, then you just might be the right person to not only present the video to him, but also to serve on the Citizen Action Group. Another thing we talked about today, we talked about the Community Action Council, and what you can do there is you can attend the February 8th event. That's an online event. I'll put the registration email again in the post-briefing notes today, and you can help gather information together that you'll need in moving your city movement forward. That's what we want to see, is the local church engaging with others in the community to the benefit of the greater community and city that they live. Of course, we also are going to include that Facebook page link so that you can register or jump on board there and look at all of the past resources that we've shared in the past. Okay. Another thing we've done today is we've also looked at some Kingdom Influence training and education materials from an outstanding provider like ARPA Canada, the Association for Reformed Political Action, and you can check out those publications and all of those reports that they have there for you on all different kinds of issues. You're going to be amazed. I know I've said that before, but you are going to be amazed at the high quality of work that they do. We also talked about artificial intelligence. Get your toe in that pool. And we got to get your toe in that pool in a real user-friendly way. So I suggested you download the link for ChatGPT on your phone and start playing around with it. Do what I was encouraged to do. Find 3 things every single day that you can query. Let me give you an example. I found one the other day. My wife, she works in the hotel business, and she's got a lot of staff that speak Ukrainian. And I just said into ChatGPT I'd like to take a look and see what a front desk manager's training book would look like for customer service, but I need it to be written in Ukrainian, in the Ukrainian language. And sure enough, ChatGPT and the AI that powers it immediately started spitting out this big long training manual. Now, I couldn't read it because it was in Ukrainian, but it was definitely an amazing thing. So these kinds of tools are available to you, and there's various other tools, but this one is really user friendly, and I think it's a great first step. So start there. All right, and then now we're on the home stretch. I want to go over 2 things. One is we were talking about site security, and those individuals in your church who have a heart for it, because it's not just about the security of your local church. It's also for the security of the individuals in your church. So do you have information at your fingertips that you can share with members of your local church so that they themselves are in a better place of preparedness should there be a local emergency or a national emergency? Well, let's take a look at a couple of the resources that I want you to have at your fingertips by sharing my screen with you here. First of all, we have a web page here from the Government of Canada, and it's called Your Emergency Preparedness Guide page. Now, look at all of this. Know the risks, make a plan, get an emergency kit. 72 hours, is your family prepared? They've got listings of all the partners, understanding the risks, making a plan. This is really quite a great site that the Government of Canada has put forward. And if you want to download the Emergency Preparedness Guide, it's right here. You just click on it, and there it is right there. 72 hours, is your family prepared? You can go through all the pages. Now, there's also another website called 72hours.ca. And this has got all sorts of different things that you can look at and in the way of resources and purchase if you wanted to buy from here. Now, I'm not promoting this particular site, but I'm just saying if you're wondering about, what do I need to think about if there is an emergency, well, they've got it all broken down into different sections as well. So everything from first aid, food and water, personal protection equipment, gloves, battery, cables, shovels, life straws, anything that you might think of. There's all sorts of different products here as well. But the goal is, remember, is not to sit around here and be all paranoid about the doom and gloom things that could come around the corner. This isn't about fear. It's about being the person who is actually going to have the solutions and be able to help in an emergency, as opposed to being so consumed by your place as being someone who needs help. Now, there's going to be lots of people that need help in a local emergency. You just don't want to be one of them. You want to be one of the ones that's prepared. So get yourself covered off. They say if you can at least take care of yourself and the people that you love and care about in your immediate orbit for 72 hours, that will keep you from being hobbled by the emergency itself. It will put you in a place where you can then be an asset and not a liability should your assistance be required at a time like that. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do, is take a look at those 2 links I put in the post-briefing notes today, and just start again for your church and for you as an individual and you and your family. Start thinking along the lines of, what do I need to be doing to be ready, and what's the security going to be like for me and my family and our church in an emergency? All right. Put that on your radar screen. I think that's something that you're going to, obviously, we hope you never do need it, but if you do need it and it's there, it's a lot better than if it isn't. So that's it for that. We'll leave it there for now. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is that I wanted to bring back to your attention something we mentioned before about the National Prayer Breakfast. This is Canada's National Prayer Breakfast event, which happens annually in Ottawa. It's actually the longest standing prayer breakfast of a nation in the world. Canada's is the oldest. And this event is very great for people who are called to pray and for people who have a heart to engage in the governmental or political realm. This is a fantastic opportunity for you to come to Ottawa if it's convenient for you and it's something that's doable. I want you to have the information on registration for the prayer breakfast itself and the leadership dinner that happens the night before. I also want to make sure that if you've got young people who have a heart for government, that this is something that you expose them to through what's called the Youth Leadership Summit, which happens at the same time. So I'm going to put that information in the post-briefing notes today as well, because we would love to have you there. Now, if you are planning on going to the National Prayer Breakfast and the Leadership Dinner or attending any of these events, I want you to let me know that you're going to be there. So get in touch with me at president@familyaction.ca. And I want you to take a look at those dates. And if you can take a few people with you, give me the names of everybody that's going to be there, because we're going to have some special events that we're going to be scheduling outside of the prayer breakfast and leadership dinner of our own. We're going to actually gather some people together in another room. There's going to be some other opportunities for you to meet government leaders and to rub elbows and to have a little bit of a Q&A and a time of getting together with other people like you and me in a big room aside from all that as well. So, but I got to know that you're there so I can make sure that you're on our list. Okay. So look in the post-briefing notes for that as well. All right. Last thing, we're absolutely done today. This is it. I got one more thing to say and go over with you, and that is that we have our website, the National Leadership Briefing website. On that website there's a place where you can partner with us. Now, last year was a real big year for our organization. We accomplished an awful lot, but we went through the resources and we came up about $18,000 short from covering the expenses of last year. We're in a mode right now where we want to clean all that up and be fresh and start out fresh for this year. So if you would consider going to the link in the post-briefing notes or going directly to our National Leadership Briefing webpage at nlbcanada.com, you will find a link where you can donate money or partner with our organization, because I'll tell you, we could sure use it. We want to get all that behind us and get this fresh start and keep it going in all through 2024. We've got an awful lot of work to do. So thank you so much for those of you who are partnered with us and who are considering it. We just appreciate so much everything you do. This would not be possible without you, as you know. So we really do value you as a financial partner and as a prayer partner of our organization. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much again. We'll look forward to seeing you next month on March the 1st. That's Friday, March 1st, very first day of the month. We're going to be here again, and we'll follow up on all of these things we talked about. However, in the meantime, God bless you, God bless your family, and may God continue to bless this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.
So we're not conservative or liberal, we're biblical. Who is running for these various offices that most closely resembles our views and values, that most closely resembles as Christians, as Bible-believing Christians, and those are the people that we want to be able to get behind.
So now we have a Citizen Action Group monthly update. So this is an important piece to keep people engaged and to just let them know what's happening at each level of government. First and foremost, I'm there to serve our pastor. The second part is then serving the congregation and getting the information out. The number one piece that was very helpful was setting up a Citizen Action booth. We have our pamphlets and information about what's going on in politics and government. We try to have someone there every Sunday after each of the services. That way they can come and ask questions. If we sent an email, if they have questions about that, or if anything's happening in government and politics, we can help answer questions and build a relationship with the congregation. Because we even have people just wandering up to the booth and saying, oh, what's this all about? I haven't heard about it.
So it's developed into something that our church is being informed. And because of that, our church has begun to become active. We have one or two people now that are actually on a local riding council. They're involved. I had somebody in my office this week that said to me, I've been praying about this a lot. I feel like I'm supposed to get more involved, and I'm actually supposed to run for office. As pastors, we have the responsibility to help our people be salt.
I knew it was the right thing to do, to go and vote and share your voice and be heard, but I didn't actually realize that one person could make a difference. I've shifted a lot.
Salt doesn't have an impact until it makes contact. And as Christians, we have to start making contact with our world, with our constituencies, with the nation.
Youth don't necessarily care about politics right now. They care about who's popular, what the music is, what's on TikTok. They don't care about the prime minister. They don't care about the mayor. It doesn't affect them right now. And so if we can create that in our people and help use the citizen action group to say, hey, there's a value for this, and this is how you do that, then when they become voting age, they'll be educated.
The most rewarding part is when I get to see the people that felt that they didn't have the power to make a change, and we said, no, we live in a democracy, this is a great country, and we have an opportunity to speak out for what we believe in and make it an even better place to live.
And I'm not a politician. I'm a pastor, so I don't try and be a politician because it's not my lane. But there are people in my church who have a real heart for that, and they have a heart for social justice and for one of the things that you've mentioned. And so they're training themselves and becoming, I don't know if you'd call us experts, but at least we're informed and engaged. So it's definitely easier for me because I'm not trying to change who I am. What God was able to do was to create something that empowered our people without me having to change and become something else.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada.
So we stand
united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.